We're very professional people.
Yeah?
And we conduct ourselves professionally, so in the spirit of professionalism, I'm gonna finish eating before I continue talking. I got plantain chips stuck in my mouth now, but we're professionals, so we'll continue. Now, what we have here is a set of KW springs with an adjustable coil purchase, the KW H.A.S Kit. We're gonna be installing that on this F82 because it's got the right height of a Korean battle tank, and it needs to have the right height of a sleek, sexy sports car, because that's what it is. And so that's what we're gonna give it. So as you can see, the kit comes with bump stops, the adjustable spring perches, these springs. This what's really cool. I've done this on a G80 before, and on the G80 it doesn't have this progressive spring right here that kind of just flattens out, and I think I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm pretty sure what this is going to do is just kind of hold the spring in, even if the suspension is like all the way decompressed. I love KW's, their color scheme is really nice. As you know, at Motorsports we really love the color purple, and yellow complements that very well. So yeah, I guess let's get started. For the front ones, there's some stuff you still need to do under the hood. You know how you have dynamic suspension and stuff like that, all the sensors and everything still connect to the top, and you're going to be pulling these things out to press the spring perches off, so you need to disconnect all that stuff before you do that, or else there's going to be problems. There's a special tool for it that the dealer I worked at doesn't even have. Everybody just kind of does it like this, and it comes right off usually. So that's that. This is pushing against this block of wood right now because there's so much spring tension, and now that we released it from the top, it's no longer captured to the top hat. And so now what you'll see is when we let pressure out of this jack, the suspension is going to want to drop down. We'll loosen up some stuff down here and it should just pop right out. So we've removed the factory struts in the front, and this is what you're left with as far as parts go. We left the top hat in the car because we didn't need to remove that. The kit we're installing on this car is actually going to utilize the factory strut, and what we're going to be doing is actually removing this factory spring perch and pressing on an adjustable spring perch from KW. We'll also be replacing this bump stop. Since we're changing our ride height, we need to control where our bump stop's going to be, and we're going to be replacing our spring. Now, from what I understand, the KW spring has a 20% stiffer spring rate than factory, so it's going to give you a little bit of a stiffer ride, and then you'll actually be able to use your EDC along with that. So you don't have to do an EDC delete. You can still do Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus suspension, and run this kit. We will be reusing the dust shield for the shaft, and that's about it. So I'm going to mark up this strut right now, and then we'll head over to the press, and I'll show you how we're going to remove that. Got the strut mounted back into the top hat over here in the strut tower. We went ahead and replaced our sensor here, and we rerouted that wire. All we have to do left is connect our tie rod end link, fucking sway bar end link. What time is it? The last nut. That's like what they would title like Ron Jeremy's funeral or something. The last nut. To get the spring perches off and get the adjustable ones on, it is kind of tricky to rig it into a press. the shape of the strut and how the press interacts with whatever you're trying to push off wasn't really kind of working out with the shape of the spring perch. So we improvised and we went caveman style and we did what any Neanderthal would do, and we beat it off with a hammer, and it came off just fine. If you're going to be taking the spring perches off of these struts, they're probably never going back on. Once you go over to a H.A.S Kit, you're gonna like it way more than factory anyways. If you want to go back to factory height, you can. Usually after that spring perch comes off, it's never going back on. Generally after this shock blows, inevitably, and the seals just give out, it's not even worth rebuilding. You just go for like a full set of coils at that point. So. Okay, so we wrapped up the front and now we're gonna move over to the rear. We've already completed that side, but we're gonna show you kind of how this side's gonna go down. So basically the rear is much easier than the front. There's no strut to deal with. The spring and the shock are independent units. So what we're gonna have to do pretty much is swing this arm out of the way so that we can bring this spring out through the bottom. To do that, you're gonna wanna disconnect your shock, you're gonna wanna disconnect the knuckle, hub, whatever you want to call it. This is kind of what sets your camber adjustment for the rear. And once you remove that hardware, you can go ahead, make sure you have something supporting this too, because this spring will just probably hurt you. So we're gonna let this down really slow. There you. We've reached the spring's limit, and now, hey babe. So just grab it maybe a little lower, because I'm gonna need to slide the spring past your hands here. Grab, yeah, there you go. And just put all your body weight down. Oh, that was your ride height sensor. Great. Okay, we'll fix that. Cool. Anyways, there's the spring. We'll plexi that back together. Just like that. Cool. Let's see. Probably should have disconnected that first. It's not a customer's car. Anyways, yeah. So now we'll put the new spring in. Slowly. And that's that. Once the hardware's back in here, you can take the screw jack away, because now it's all going to hold itself together, and that's how you install the rear. So you can see from in here, actually it's interesting, those progressive springs in there actually compress all the way. These springs are to kind of hold this in place for when the actual shock, which is designed for a longer spring, I guess, totally decompresses. It just kind of holds it in place and stops it from popping out. Alright, and that's pretty much it for the H.A.S Kit. Pretty straightforward in the rear. The front takes a few other tactics to make happen, but it's doable. So yeah, overall I think it looks great. We're going to give the springs about a week to settle, 5 to 8 days, and then we'll see where it's really sitting, and then we'll make our adjustments from there. And then we'll film again where the actual ride height of the car will be, so you guys can see it, and then that's it. That's a wrap.